26 Stat. Five for 6 is amended by inserting after educational purposes the following, which may include technology innovation and entrepreneurship programs and establishment of innovation incubators. B. Execution, if necessary to effectuate the amendment made by subsection A. The Secretary of the Navy shall execute and file in the appropriate office an amended deed or other appropriate instrument reflecting the modification of restrictions on the use of former Camp Matthews conveyed to the Regents of the University of California pursuant to Public Law 87-662. Sec. 2852. Land Conveyance, Joint Base Cape Cod, Bourne, Massachusetts. A. Conveyance authorized. The Secretary of the Air Force may convey to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, in this section referred to as the Commonwealth, all right, title, and interest of the United States in and to a parcel of real property, including improvements thereon and related easements, consisting of approximately 10 acres located on Joint Base Cape Cod, Bourne, Massachusetts. B. Conditions of conveyance. The conveyance under subsection A shall be subject to valid existing rights and the Commonwealth shall accept the real property, and any improvements thereon, in its condition at the time of the conveyance, commonly known as a conveyance as is. C. Consideration. 1. Consideration required. As consideration for the conveyance under subsection A, the Commonwealth shall pay to the United States an amount equal to the fair market value of the right, title, and interest conveyed under subsection A, based on an appraisal approved by the Secretary. 2. Treatment of consideration received. Consideration received under paragraph 1 shall be deposited in the special account in the Treasury established under subsection B of Section 572 of Title 40, United States Code, and shall be available in accordance with paragraph 5b of such subsection. D. Payment of costs of conveyance. 1. Payment required. The Secretary of the Air Force shall require the Commonwealth to cover all costs, except costs for environmental remediation of the property, to be incurred by the Secretary, or to reimburse the Secretary for costs incurred by the Secretary, to carry out the conveyance under subsection A, including survey costs, costs for environmental documentation, and any other administrative costs related to the conveyance. If amounts are collected from the Commonwealth in advance of the Secretary incurring the actual costs, and the amount collected exceeds the costs actually incurred by the Secretary to carry out the conveyance, the Secretary shall refund the excess amount to the Commonwealth. 2. Treatment of amounts received. Amounts received as reimbursement under paragraph 1 shall be credited to the fund or account that was used to cover the costs incurred by the Secretary in carrying out the conveyance, or, if the period of availability for obligations for that appropriation has expired, to an appropriate fund or account currently available to the Secretary for the same purpose. Amounts so credited shall be merged with amounts in such fund or account, and shall be available for the same purposes, and subject to the same conditions and limitations, as amounts in such fund or account. E. Description of property. The exact acreage and legal description of the property to be conveyed under subsection A shall be determined by a survey satisfactory to the Secretary of the Air Force. F. Additional terms and conditions. The Secretary of the Air Force may require such additional terms and conditions in connection with the conveyance under subsection A, as the Secretary considers appropriate to protect the interests of the United States. Sec. 2853. Land Conveyance, St. Joseph, Missouri. A. Conveyance authorized. At such time as the Missouri Air National Guard vacates their existing location on the southern end of the airfield at Rosecrans Memorial Airport in St. Joseph, Missouri, as determined by the Secretary of the Air Force, the Secretary may convey to the city of St. Joseph, Missouri, in this section referred to as the city, or right, title, an interest of the United States in and to a parcel of real property, including any improvements thereon, consisting of approximately 54 acres at the Rosecrans Air National Guard Base in St. Joseph, Missouri, for the purpose of removing the property from the boundaries of the Rosecrans Air National Guard Base and accommodating the operations and maintenance needs of the Rosecrans Memorial Airport, as well as the development of the parcels and buildings for economic purposes. B. Condition of conveyance. The conveyance under subsection A shall be subject to valid existing rights, and the city shall accept the real property, and any improvements thereon, in its condition at the time of the conveyance, commonly known as a conveyance as is. C. Consideration. 1. Requirement as consideration for the conveyance of the property under subsection A. The city shall provide the United States an amount that is equivalent to the fair market value of the right, title, and interest conveyed under subsection A, based on an appraisal approved by the Secretary of the Air Force. 2. Types of consideration. A. In general, except as provided in subparagraph B. The consideration required to be provided under paragraph 1 may be provided by land exchange, in-kind consideration described in subparagraph D, or a combination thereof. B. Less than fair market value. If the value of the land exchange or in-kind consideration provided under subparagraph A is less than the fair market value of the property interest to be conveyed under subsection A, the city shall pay to the United States an amount equal to the difference between the fair market value of the property interest and the value of the consideration provided under subparagraph A. C. Cash consideration. Any cash consideration received by the United States under this subsection shall be deposited in the special account in the Treasury established under Section 572, B. 5, of Title 40, United States Code, and available in accordance with the provisions of subparagraph B. 2, of such section. D. In-kind consideration.